Good morning and welcome to CTI's webinar on how to tame the Wild West frontiers of cloud communications. My name is Michael Latshaw and I'm the marketing manager here at CTI. And your hosts today for the webinar are Ben Schoolsky, CTI's Chief Customer Officer, and Chris Poulopoulos, CTI's Director of Operations. So now, without further ado, I turn the presentation over to Ben Schoolsky. Ben?
Thank you, Michael, and welcome everyone for taking the time out today for our How to Tame the Wild West Frontiers of Cloud Communications, Voice over IP, VoIP in the Cloud during the pandemic and beyond. I'm Ben Schoolsky, Chief Customer Officer of CTI, along with Chris Poulopoulos, our Director of Operations. To start off, I'll tell you a little bit about myself and Chris. We've both been in this business for many, many years, and we've seen it evolve. We have experience working with end users, system administrators, executives. We've been on both sides, from being on the vendor side and working with customers, as well as we are customers often ourselves. So we know how to relate to both sides of that fence. What really draws Chris and I together and makes us very similar in our approach is our focus on solutions that solve business pain. Technology has no value if it doesn't solve a business problem and help your business to move forward. A little bit about CTI. We've been in business for 25 years, protecting, partnering, and growing with our customers. We've always believed in best-in-breed services, technologies, and solutions to manage all aspects of our customers' business. The technology continues to evolve and change year over year. It is fast, and our goal is to be ahead of that changing curve so that when we meet with our customers, we can add value by being the ones to educate you so that you can make the best business decisions, knowing that the solutions coming to the table are what are considered in the industry best in breed. We also are pioneers in this UCaaS cloud UC space. Back in 2006, we built and operated our own BroadSoft hosted VoIP platform. We built a network of carrier services on the back end. So in essence, we were a carrier, a provider to our customers. In 2011, we got out of that provider business because we really wanted to go back to our roots as a trusted advisor to our customers. And when we sold that business, we began to focus back on our VoIP and managed services, managing the end user experience on the desktop. Before we get too deep, I'm going to turn it over to Chris to explain to you what is UCaaS.
Thanks, Ben, and thanks, Michael, and good morning, everybody. So before, like Ben said, before we jump in, what is UCaaS? What's in a name? You're going to hear terms like UCaaS, CCaaS, CPaaS, Cloud VoIP, Cloud UC, hosted voice. Like anything in technology, the acronyms and the names have just gotten a little bit too far out of control. So for our purposes today, what are we talking about? We're talking about unified communication or voice as a service. And simply put that means you're going to be signing a contract with a vendor and paying a monthly or an annual fee for that service. That vendor with that service should have the ability to provide you voice features, voicemail, conferencing, audio conferencing, video conferencing, chat, some sort of collaboration environment for you and your customers, clients, and internal staff, right? So that's really what we're talking about today. And because it's in the cloud, it has the ability to be accessed from anywhere, and it should have a nice streamlined user experience that everyone has across the board, whether it be on the desktop, iPhone, Android device, tablet, whatever it be. So just trying to simplify a large swath of names that are out there. That's just what we're talking about today. So I think I'll turn it back over to you, Ben. I think you've got some where we've been and where we're going.
Thank you, Chris. And in theme with the Wild West, we thought it would be appropriate to put up a wanted sign. And what was wanted in 2019, last year, the UCaaS market was $15.8 billion, $16 billion. Last year, they were predicting by 2024, it would be a $25 billion business. So that's 10% growth year over year by a firm called M&M Analysis. Wherever they analyze things, they are seeing a rapid growth in the industry, as are many people. So before the pandemic, UCaaS was wanted. What we are seeing at this point, after the pandemic, as we are in it and living it, unfortunately, UCaaS has become needed. Workforces have gone home. People are still trying to stay productive. We need to continue to have our business move forward, to touch our customers, to touch our vendors, to touch our suppliers, to stay in business. People are working remotely. And so UCaaS now has gone from a want to a need for many businesses who weren't prepared. And this says 30% of the workforce will be working from home multiple days a week by 2021. So no one is really sure what the future holds, but this is what they're predicting. And I think we all feel that the work from home is not going away very quickly and will continue to expand. Somehow they've come up with an estimate on savings for people working part-time or remotely at home half the time to $11,000 a person a year. I don't know how they come up with these numbers, but I'm sure it has something to do with less required real estate and how that might impact a business. So there are values and benefits. And what Chris is going to do is walk you through the UCaaS markets and how it is the Wild West today.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. So, as we're starting to think about this, putting this webinar together, we started talking about not just how crazy the environment is today with everyone working from home, but the actual UCaaS market. We deem it sort of the Wild West. Hundreds and hundreds of providers out there. And it seems like everyone has a solution, from maybe your internet carrier to your home internet provider, to the huge big names in the marketplace, the Ciscos, the 8x8s, the Ring Centrals, right? And all the way down. It seems like anyone can just spin up a solution and sell it as UCaaS. And they're, of course, going to market that to anyone and anyone they can get their hands on, whether it be clickbait or banners, or, back before the pandemic when we would travel on the subways, right? So that marketing is going to do things like claim high uptimes, right? They're going to claim all those nines. We're uptime is 99.999999. Then they throw an 8 in there to try to keep themselves honest. So that marketing is huge. So you've got a lot of providers. You've got a lot of marketing money. Everyone's trying to get a piece of you as a customer or client. So it's really crazy out there. It's, we deem it like the Wild West. And then, of course, all the UCaaS providers are not created equal, right? There's nothing unified about unified communications. They've got different feature sets, different integrations. Some are basic, some are robust, some have great collaboration, some don't have any collaboration. Some are for the budget conscious, some are for the high end, some are for certain verticals. There's no apple to apple comparisons, right? And then, of course, security has been a huge thing in the news lately with some voice and conferencing providers. And all solutions don't have the same level of security or the compliance for the vertical that you're in, whether it be finance or healthcare. So just all these factors jumbled up into one market really make it cloudy and make it that Wild West that we're trying to tame. The good news is there's a lot of great stuff out there that can make your business far more productive and help transform your business in some good ways. And I think Ben's going to highlight some of those for you.
Thank you, Chris. So how can you transform your business leveraging UCaaS? So simply put, you can communicate from any device, anywhere, anytime. You may have heard of it referred to as BYOD, bring your own device. So customers now have flexibility to turn their solution on or off from anywhere, any device, anytime. So if they need to work from home, they can do it easily. If they want to use a home phone and have a number directed to them, they could do that. If they want to use a computer application over the internet, they can do that. If they want to use a mobile device, they could do that. So it makes it simple. Another big value is the enterprise feature availability, building in redundancy, high availability, getting large contact center feature functionality, being able to do video conferencing, being able to do chat, being able to collaborate easy. There are many things that as a small business, if you wanted to build on your own, it would take you time, money, and resource, and it's not easy to do. So you get to tap into this centralized power. Also, a lot of the providers today are taking advantage of analytics to help you to better manage your business, to understand what your needs and requirements are so that you can bring value to the folks making those decisions. Also, the integration points are more simple. If you have Salesforce.com and you want to integrate that, if you have ServiceNow for ticketing purposes, and somehow you want to integrate this onto your solution, these providers can do that for you so you don't have to take the time just to do that yourself. So there's a large value to simplify enterprise functionality to the small and mid-sized business. And one of the things that you will see is the Gartner Quadrant is referred to often. This is 2019. They have not come out with 2020, and some things have changed. You might not see Zoom in here. Zoom is going to be a player on this quadrant. You may not see Avaya on here, but I think Avaya will become a player in this quadrant. And so what's happened is in the far right is are the leaders and the visionaries and everybody else who's in the game and trying to catch up. And when you look at the leaders, you will see RingCentral, and they're in the leaders in the visionary category. Something in the industry recently, big announcement was Avaya partnered with RingCentral, so that RingCentral could become that platform for Avaya customers to jump into the land of cloud, where Avaya is a market leader on the prem, RingCentral is a market leader in the cloud. And what they are doing is collaborating on feature functionality. They're collaborating on how to make the migration from Avaya to RingCentral easier by making integrations. Also, you get to use your Avaya devices on the RingCentral platform. So for customers who are accustomed to that functionality on their phones that they've had for many years, they can now move that onto the RingCentral platform. So not only does it enhance Avaya's ability to go to market as a cloud leader, it enhances RingCentral with the new functionality that will come through this relationship. So that's a big development. Chris, you have a comment?
Yeah, it's just kind of funny. We put this whole thing together, and I get a nice big slide about how it's the Wild West, and I tell you, there's hundreds and potentially thousands of providers, and Gartner throws up a quadrant with like 14 people on there, 14 businesses. So there you go. Thank you, Michael or Ben, whoever put that up there. That's that's probably the short list on the short side of things. 3 columns. You know, it's again, it's a crowded field. You know, I can see a handful that aren't even up there from that list, and it is a crowded field, even though Gartner doesn't quite put them all on there. And as Ben mentioned,
I'll just throw in there, Chris, these are all partners within the CTI portfolio. And as Chris said, we do not have access to every partner out there. So there are hundreds and hundreds, but these are the many that we have access to bring to our customers. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, thanks. Absolutely. And one more thing before this slide, just so everyone knows, to put a cap on Gartner's quadrant, the premise-based UC market has been deemed full maturity by Gartner. So they are no longer even putting a quadrant out for premise-based voice solutions. They've just deemed that market full maturity. It's everywhere it's going to go. So obviously, we all know the wants and needs of the cloud, and I think we're all looking to move that way. So Gartner feels the same way. Next up, you know, with the role of a TSP or a technology solutions provider, which is what we are here at CTI, is really to be your trusted advisor, right? We're not a provider. we want to be your trusted advisor. All right. We want to partner with you on the integration and working with your UCaaS provider, right? And our goal is really to be that sort of person and that sort of company for you. Migrations are not easy. As easy as the marketing teams will make it sound, go into the cloud, they are not that easy. You know, we always hear the term plug and play. You know, we always joke in the office or virtually that it's a little more plug and pray. So it's not as easy as they're going to make it sound. The good news is, as a TSP, and most TSPs should be doing this for you, they should know unified communications on the voice side. They should also know IT managed services, just like we do at CTI. And they should also know carrier and edge infrastructure as well. Those are really three pieces that a TSP should be putting together for you. And that's really the role in helping you. And a company that knows those things and can be your trusted advisor will help you make the right decision to solve the solutions. And of course, you know, at CTI, you know, we are those experts. And you may be used to a high touch approach, you know, with a premise-based voice company. And we have the experience and the escalations within the UCaaS world for those providers that Ben threw up there on the slide. And really that experience and that relationship with those providers is going to help you make a really sound, good decision on how you get to the cloud. Because again, like we say, it's the Wild West, and our goal is to get you the right solution for your company. And we've seen this, and we've seen this model be successful in moving folks to the cloud. And I think, Ben, you've got maybe a use case or a customer testimonial or a story to share with us.
Sure, Chris. It's more of a overview of how we're helping our customers to get through the information. There are so many questions to ask, right? Which is for you? What are your needs? Do you need a vendor with a global reach? Do you need integrations into Salesforce or other applications? Do you require video collaboration? Some hosted providers are white labeled. Some are homegrown in somebody's garage. Others are large quadrant types like Gartner. So what type of business are you, and who do you like to work with historically? So they're not all equal, as Chris said earlier. So we help you to choose, to implement, to support. There is a difference between being a trusted advisor and being a provider / carrier. And when you move to the cloud, you are moving to more of a carrier environment than a trusted environment, a trusted advisor environment. And so our role is to help you make sure that your data infrastructure is sufficient, to make sure the edge devices are ready and sufficient to support the internet bandwidths, and to do the carrier analysis and maybe talk to you about SD-WAN for resiliency and redundancy, because the failures happen not necessarily in the VoIP providers, because like Chris said, they're all 9999999.8, but the error can happen on your end. So we're trying to help minimize those errors. How much does it cost to make this move? Well, maybe it won't cost you anything, because you're currently paying for potentially a system lease on-prem, some maintenance. You're definitely paying for either SIP trunks or voice carrier that will go away. So we will work with you to identify these things and to make sure that all the bases are covered. Some providers don't charge surcharges and taxes. Others do. They're not the same. So you need to be aware and identify them. And so you benefit from our industry experience, our knowledge. We work with multiple providers that you're comfortable with, depending on what's best for you. We help you get the best price because we are agnostic and we know how to put the pressure on the vendors to serve your interests. And we are not compensated by you. We are taken care of by the vendors. So our interests are totally in line with you through the process to make sure that the services and the features and the functionalities and the analysis are right for you. So Chris, I'll turn it back over to you to talk about our Whiteglove service.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, it's just really, really well put that, again, you know, our interests are in line with you, not so much the UCaaS provider. with that said, we do offer a white glove service where we give you that high touch feel you may be used to with the on-premise solution and deployments. And that's because this is going to take a lot of your time. The migration is going to take up as either a system administrator, an office manager, an IT director, whatever your role is, it's going to take up your time, right? You're going to have to do things like analyze your current call flows. You're going to have to fill out documents. You're going to have to worry about things like porting and CSRs from the carrier side. So we like to offer this service to help you do that heavy lifting, right? And that includes the migration support. That migration support includes things like project management, where we sit between you and the UCaaS provider and leverage our experience on both sides of the coin in order to provide you with a much faster and smoother migration. We can do the things like the stations and the call reviews, the call flow analysis, assistance with the porting. And again, like I said, expertise on both sides, the UCaaS platform and your premise platform. And then the final piece of the white glove service is your go live support, right? Because you're going to have to do things like plug in phones. You're going to have to do things like potentially add new switching, new cabling at the desk level, maybe patching in the rooms, things that you may not want to do or you may not have time to, right? Because you've got other things going on as well, other projects that you're managing. So again, we can offer that go live support. And the final piece of that is training. UCaaS providers love to be in the cloud and they love to not go on site, right? We have the ability to bring trainers on site as well, right? So you can still do that really nice knowledge transfer on your go live and take that end user pain off of you as a help desk or a system administrator or an IT director. So just some of the things we offer. Again, I think Ben is going to kind of piggyback on that with maybe just a recap and a testimonial.
Thanks, Chris. I first also want to identify that you mentioned on site. We have been doing remote training for years. It's a big part of what we do. We have videos online for customers to do self-training. We can set up live remote training in groups or individually as required. So we have experience not just on site, but completely working with customers remotely, because for many years we've been serving customers nationally and globally and have had to manage that. I want to talk a little bit about your experience. How do you want to be serviced, right? It goes back to you as a customer. What are you used to? Are you used to doing most of the things in-house and you like to do it that way? Or do you like to have somebody be responsible for it because you want to focus on your business, what you're responsible for, and let the experts focus on the technology or what they're responsible for? Are your services today managed by a value-added provider or a managed services provider? We have priority access with many of the UCaaS providers. We can help to escalate things when things are needed at times that customers sometimes don't have that influence. So there is added value beyond touching our staff daily that we can give you by working with the provider, by making sure that all the steps are followed, and that at the end of the day, it's really not about technology. It's about experience and serving your business and solving problems or getting back more time. And so that's really what we want to leave off with. So how do you get started? It's very easy. If you have questions, you can, of course, reach out to myself or to Chris if you have our contact information. If you're currently working with a sales professional, you have somebody who you know for years, who's part of CTI, you can reach out to them and either they will help you directly or put you in touch with the person who can. If you're not sure who to touch at CTI or have any contacts, please reach out to M. Latshaw at consultech.com. And what Michael will do is direct you to the proper people to assure that you have your questions answered and that you're taken care of. Michael, speaking of questions, are there any questions from the group that we can address?
Yes, we do have a few that came in. When I move to the cloud, does my data infrastructure need to be replaced?
Maybe. Part of our analysis will help you to determine what you have, what you require, what those costs would be. If it will be part of a operating expense, we could look at that. So the answer is maybe. A lot of the questions or answers to the questions become maybe. It depends on what you have, and part of our analysis before you make any decisions is to make sure that we identify any of the items that might cause pain later so that they're addressed beforehand. Chris, anything to add to that?
Yeah, as I said, it's a good point. I was going to jump in there. The minute you said pain point, the big thing to understand when we talk about infrastructure and analyzing what you have is, again, the UCaaS providers, we'll talk about this uptime being tremendously large, right? 99.9s and all that good stuff. And they're not lying. Their data centers are up and they're redundant and they're up all the time. The failure that occurs is usually at the customer internet provider level, right? So when we talk about analyzing your infrastructure and changing infrastructure, we need to make sure that we look at, and you look at things like your firewall, your load balancing. Do you need or have redundant ISP connections? Is SD-WAN a good fit for you for load balancing? So that's a really, really important area to focus on when we talk about your data infrastructure is how you're connecting at the edge and how we're mitigating any risk for you going down.
Great. Who do I call for support?
Great question. You have two options. You can call directly into the cloud provider and they will offer you support directly because the provider is the one who is giving you the support related to the cloud service, the hosted VoIP service. You could also call into CTI's help desk. We have a managed service that we offer to our customers. For those customers who do not want to place the call to the cloud provider, who have become accustomed to working with CTI support and team, who want to make sure that the issue isn't internal to their network potentially as opposed to the cloud VoIP. Those customers have the option to do a managed service through CTI. They can open up a ticket with our help desk. We will manage the problem end to end and we would update the customer accordingly.
Great. Can I use my existing internet service?
Sure. We'd analyze that and make sure that it's robust enough to support the applications and the functionality you require. But I think Chris hit on that, right? We want to look at your edge devices. We want to make sure that you have robust internet. We want to see if there's a way to talk to you about SD-WAN, at least educate you on what that does for failover and availability. And we also need to be concerned about the work from home and understand what they have. Fortunately, in today's world, almost everybody has cable that's robust. Almost everybody has a Fios that's robust. So work from home is typically a non-issue and will work fine.
Great. Thank you, Ben. We have two more quick questions. Well, maybe not quick. What is the relationship between Avaya and RingCentral?
It's a great question. The relationship is collaborative and they are partners. So Avaya is leveraging the RingCentral platform so that they are now able to move their customers to a robust platform in the cloud. They are collaborating on technology and feature set to move those best of breed things that Avaya offers to the cloud RingCentral platform. You can move your phones if you're using your Avaya phones today. So there's no more investment in telephones. There's not as much training to the end user. And they're also working on ways to migrate you from your existing Avaya platform to the Ring platform with as minimal interference as possible. So those are some of the things that are going on. Chris?
Yeah, I was going to say that you hit that migration point, and we talked about that being a laborious task for moving from premise to the cloud. And I think that's the most exciting thing about these two companies getting together is they're going to have a pretty seamless migration path from getting you off of Avaya on the premise to getting you to Avaya / RingCentral in the cloud. I think that's going to be a a huge time saver and speed up getting people off-prem onto the cloud.
Great. Last question, and perhaps, one of the most important. How much does it cost?
It's a great question. Part of our analysis is to understand where you have expense today. Do you use third-party collaboration? Do you have a phone system lease? What are your maintenance expenses? What are your carrier bills? What are your internet bills? And our goal is to look at the total picture and potentially come back and show you how this will save you money as opposed to cost you money. It doesn't always work that way. So the answer is every customer is different, but if we do the right diligence up front, we can identify all of the expenses, and if we do it properly, it should not be expensive because there are many costs that are spent today that will be offset by moving toward a cloud solution.
Yeah, I think the other good thing is because it's the Wild West, because you've got so many providers, you've got the ones that are one end that'll be a good fit for your budget and your problems or solutions or business cases you're trying to solve, and then you've got the other end that are going to have high-end contact centers and the robust features your larger enterprise may need. So there's something for everybody out there. Like Ben said, I think analyzing and doing the due diligence before committing to anything is really the biggest thing.
Great. And that's it for the questions.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for their time. I hope you found value in this. If there's any way we could support you, please reach out. And we hope everybody stays safe during these times, and we look forward to seeing you in person soon. Thank you.